Hello, how are you? Welcome to the CurioClips channel. Crocodiles are still around today because they never really went away. But when it comes to dinosaurs, we have rocks that are millions of years old that tell us a completely different story. So why is it that crocodiles survived and dinosaurs died out? Let's find out. Hey there, and welcome to Paleologic. Today we're going to try and answer a viewer's question from our community tab. This one comes from the collector and many others who all asked, why did crocodiles survive, but dinosaurs didn't? It's a great question, but now I've got to go dig through 66 million years worth of history to find an answer. That's probably going to take a while. So why don't we get some nice, soothing music and look at some pretty pictures for a few minutes while I contemplate the nature of time itself? Okay, I'm back and I have an answer, sort of. I think the best way to approach this question is to first make sure we being very clear with our definitions. When people talk about crocodiles, they're usually talking about the American alligator or the saltwater crocodile, both of which are in the group known as crocodilians. Crocodilians are a diverse group of semi-aquatic reptiles that includes not just alligators and crocodiles, but also caiman, gharials, and false gharials. But when people ask about crocodiles, they usually mean crocodilians, and when people say dinosaur, they usually mean the Dinosauria, which were a diverse group of mostly terrestrial reptiles that lived during the Mesozoic era, which lasted from about 252 to 66 million years ago. Now both groups are part of the larger Archosaur family tree, which also includes the extinct phytosaurs and the still extant birds. Although crocodiles and dinosaurs had a lot more in common than they might have initially met the eye, they were actually more distantly related than you might think. In fact, crocodiles and dinosaurs are more closely related to each other than either are to turtles. However, by the late Triassic, roughly 230 million years ago, the two groups had diverged enough to be considered separate lineages within the broader Archosaur family tree. So now we know what we're talking about. But why did crocodiles survive and dinosaurs die out? Well, the first thing to keep in mind is that crocodiles didn't just suddenly show up at the end of the Cretaceous period. Like the event that marked the end of the dinosaurs was not the first time crocodilians were alive on Earth. The oldest fossils of crocodilians date back to the Triassic period, around 245 million years ago, and they were around and evolving alongside the dinosaurs for most of the latter's existence. During much of the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods, crocodiles were largely marine creatures, competing for resources with ichthyosaurs and later mosasaurs. But there were always terrestrial crocodilians, even if they weren't quite adapted for life on land like some modern crocodiles are. As far back as the late Jurassic, there were crocodilian species living in what is today the territory of modern-day Pakistan that had shorter, stronger limbs and a broader skull that would make them better suited for life on land. Still, life in the water was clearly important to them because they also retained features such as a powerful tail for swimming. These adaptations suggest that these ancient crocodiles were active predators both on land and in water, and they may have hunted along riverbanks, catching fish and smaller animals. They might have also been scavengers, feeding on carcasses that came too close to the water. But as we move into the Cretaceous period, we see the rise of the classic archetypal crocodiles that resemble more modern forms. One of the first things you might notice about crocodiles is their armor. A key adaptation that distinguished crocodilians from most other reptiles was their armor. Crocodilian armor was made up of bony plates called osteoderms, which were embedded in their skin and provided protection against bites from other predatory animals. Many, but not all crocodilians still have this armor today. However, during the Cretaceous, all crocodilians sported this armor. While armor is certainly useful against other predatory animals, it can also help animals conserve water. The armor of crocodilians was made of a type of bone called dermal bone, which is made by cells on the surface of an animal's body rather than by the skeleton. Dermal bones could enable crocodilians to live in environments where water was scarce. We know that crocodilians today can survive in a wide range of habitats, from salty coastal waters to freshwater lakes and rivers. Some species can even tolerate brackish water, which has a mix of fresh and salt water. Crocodilians can survive in salty environments thanks to special glands near their eyes that help them excrete excess salt. This adaptation likely enabled them to thrive in a variety of habitats and may have been a key factor in their ability to survive the mass extinction event that wiped out the dinosaurs. It seems that this combination of adaptations, including their semi-aquatic lifestyle, their armor, and their ability to regulate their salt intake, enabled crocodilians to survive the mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous, whereas the dinosaurs were not so lucky. But crocodilians did not emerge unscathed. About 75% of crocodilian species went extinct in the mass extinction event, and the event seems to have reset the entire group's evolution. While there was a huge diversity of crocodilians before the extinction, there was only a single major lineage of crocodiles after the extinction, and that lineage gave rise to all extant crocodilians alive today. Okay, so maybe it was those adaptations that allowed them to survive the asteroid impact and subsequent mass extinction event that killed off the dinosaurs. Well, yes and no. See, paleontologists now know that the mass extinction event that marked the end of the Cretaceous wasn't caused by a single catastrophic event like an asteroid impact. In reality, there was a series of environmental changes that took place over several million years that resulted in a mass extinction. Even though the asteroid impact certainly played a role in this process, it wasn't the only thing that happened. In fact, evidence for the impact itself is surprisingly scant. While the impact did leave behind a layer of sediment containing microscopic shocked quartz and tektite, a rock called iridium, which is rare on Earth but common in asteroids, and a large crater in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, there are only a few fossils that document the moment of impact. This is because most of the world's fossils aren't preserved in sedimentary rock. Most fossils are preserved in marine deposits, and the asteroid impact was a terrestrial event. This lack of fossil evidence for the impact itself has led some scientists to conclude that it wasn't a significant factor in causing the mass extinction. Instead, it seems that the impact triggered a series of events that caused gradual changes in the environment over a period of several million years, leading up to the mass extinction. Here's what we know. The impact caused massive earthquakes, tsunamis, and wildfires. It also ejected vast amounts of dust and debris into the atmosphere, which blocked sunlight and caused global temperatures to plummet. This sudden cooling may have disrupted ocean currents and caused the upwelling of cold water from the deep ocean. The dust in the atmosphere also blocked sunlight, causing darkness across the globe. These conditions likely persisted for years or even decades, causing plants to die and disrupting food chains. And as if that wasn't enough, the impact also led to widespread volcanic activity. The impact triggered a chain reaction of earthquakes around the world, which in turn triggered volcanoes to erupt. These eruptions released gases and ash into the atmosphere, further blocking sunlight and adding to the cooling effect of the impact winter. The impact also disrupted ocean currents, leading to a decrease in oxygen in the oceans, making it difficult for marine organisms to breathe. Additionally, the impact caused massive tsunamis that likely devastated coastal ecosystems. The combination of these factors led to a rapid decline in biodiversity. Estimates suggest that up to 75% of all species went extinct, including many well-known dinosaurs such as Tyrannosaurus rex, Triceratops, and Ankylosaurus. So yeah, it was kind of a big deal. So given all that, do you think crocodiles had a pretty easy time of it? No, absolutely not. During this period of ecological upheaval, crocodilians experienced significant changes in their morphology. Before the mass extinction event, crocodilians exhibited a wide range of body sizes and shapes. However, after the extinction, crocodilians were predominantly medium-sized with elongated snouts. This suggests that the mass extinction event caused a dramatic shift in the crocodilian body plan, and that the ancestors of modern crocodiles were particularly well suited to surviving in the changing environment. But again, that's just speculation based on the fossil record. There isn't much evidence for how crocodilians actually fared during the extinction event. It is possible that the crocodilians that we find in the fossil record are the survivors of a mass-killing event that took out most of their contemporaries. Another possibility is that the fossil record is biased against crocodilians and that they were less affected by the extinction than the fossil record makes it seem. Either way, we don't know exactly how crocodilians were affected by the mass extinction. However, what we do know is that they managed to survive and recover, whereas the dinosaurs did not. Their ability to survive the mass extinction event may have been due to a combination of factors, including their semi-aquatic lifestyle, their armor, and their ability to regulate their salt intake. However, It's likely that other factors were also at play and that the mass extinction event had a significant impact on their evolution. The mass extinction event seems to have wiped out the majority of crocodilian species, leaving only a single lineage of crocodiles alive. This event also seems to have caused a change in the crocodilian body plan, with the survivors being medium-sized crocodilians with elongated snouts. And here we are today with only a single lineage of crocodilians, which includes the alligators and crocodiles we know today. And they've remained largely unchanged for the last 66 million years. So thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe for more updates. Check out our other videos and leave your questions in the comments down below. And remember, it's not just dinosaurs that are extinct. Be kind, rewind.